Hello and welcome back to Season 4 of the Fresh Finds Podcast, the show about discovering new music with good people. I'm Ryan, and joining me this episode are the guys from the Columbus, Ohio emo rock trio Manor Gates. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Wonderful.
Good to hear. Good to have you guys on. It was a little bit last minute this time around, but you know, we're good. We're chilling now. We're all set. Do you guys want to go around, introduce yourselves, and give a little bit of background on the band?
Sure. I'll start. My name's Griffin. I play guitar and sing in the band, and we've been a band since October 2021, I believe. Is that right? I think so, yeah. So.
Yes. I'm Jeremy, and I play the drums.
Oh shit, that was it? Okay. I love it.
Nothing more than that.
I'm Matt, and I play the bass. I'm going to stick to the hard stop like Jeremy, whatever you want to call him.
I was going to say, yeah. So we call Jeremy Jim, and we call Matt Hugh. So you're going to hear that a lot. So
all right. So this is going to be nice and confusing for anybody who doesn't know who the hell you are.
100%.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers go out to anybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that the band started in 2021, right?
That's when this version of the band started. We'll put it that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to give me a little bit of background, a little bit of history?
Sure. Yeah. So I've known Matt for 12 years almost, but me and him have been playing in bands together for that whole time, on and off, in Columbus and Cleveland and all that kind of stuff. And then I took a break from music for a while and then started back up. In all those bands I played, either drums, bass, guitar, I've done it all. But I wanted to get back into playing guitar and fronting a band. So that was like 2019-ish, started working with a drummer, and we played around for a little bit. Then I joined another band that Jeremy was in and played for that for a while, and that band disbanded. And at the end of that, we both kind of looked at each other and said, hey, do you want to do that project I've been working on? And we're like, yeah. So that was October 2021, where it was like, hey, let's try to get serious about this band and turn Manor Gates into something real. And it was just me and Jim for a while. We had a bass player fill in for a couple shows, and then we knew we needed somebody that we could, that was reliable and could play the bass, and somebody we were comfortable with. And that's when I was like, hey, I got a guy I played with for 10 years at that point. So that's when we called up Matt and started getting serious about it. And that was probably, was that September?
Yeah, somewhere in that time frame. Yeah,
because we'd already released an EP before he joined the band.
Okay. So I was actually gonna ask about that, because I was like, the first EP that you guys put out in 2022, which was Nothing Changes Except What Has To, that was before Matt was in the band.
Yeah. That was me and Jim recording that. Just the two of us. I played bass on that, and like I said, we had to fill in for our first couple shows just to round it out. Ended up just not working out schedule wise, so that's when we reached out to Matt and said, hey, let's do the thing. And he was in another band at the time, so I think he was trying to wind that one down too, so it kind of worked out timing-wise for everybody. Yeah,
honestly, that's at least to me, a surprisingly fast turnaround from going, do you want to get this project going again, to having an EP out in around 6 months, give or take, maybe a little bit more?
We recorded, when did we record that? Was that January?
It was January of 2022.
Yeah, so we were a band for 3 months before we recorded that.
Okay.
So that material was about 3 months. I mean, the songs were there, but they weren't finalized. Let's put it that way. Jim came in and finalized.
Yeah, a majority of the guitar parts were already.
Yeah.
The structure of the songs and stuff like that was already kind of put together. It really just needed drums to them. So yeah, it was like a few practices. We already had a couple of them already laid out.
Yeah, we had 6 songs or something when Jim came on board.
Okay, yeah, and that was a 4-song EP. It looks like.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's like I said, that's surprisingly fast turnaround to me.
And in hindsight, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because since then, obviously, you started writing the songs before anybody else was really in on the project. So Much Brooding, which came out about 6 months ago now, last year. Crazy to think about, isn't it?
Yes.
But moving on to that, has the songwriting changed quite a bit and become a lot more collaborative since bringing in everybody else? Or is it still primarily you kind of coming up with the riffs and the lyrics, and then everybody else coming in and adding stuff later?
So when we were writing So Much Brooding, Matt wasn't in the band yet, so I So I ended up recording the bass for the full length as well. So yeah, me and Jim wrote all of So Much Brooding together. Matt was around for I think the last like 3 songs we wrote for the album.
Something like that. I was on the tail end of it, and like I sat in a couple of the writing sessions with you guys, but at that point it made more sense just for you guys to keep going full steam ahead than me try to make it work. Between everything, I think it worked out great that way. I think that was. I don't have a big enough ego to be like, I want my bass on it. Like, I think the finished product is really what matters. So I think it came out great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it was definitely one of. I don't remember where I put it on my list, but it was definitely in my list of top 10 LPs of the year. One of my favorites for sure. Do you want to give a little bit more background on that record and kind of like the writing process or anything interesting about specific songs or like kind of what the record means to you?
I'm gonna let Jim talk for a minute, but I could probably say a lot of stuff about it, but I'm gonna let Jim go first.
Right on.
Yeah, I think so. With how you brought up something that was like kind of key in that, like how the quick turnaround with the first EP. We were just trying to get established, start getting out there, putting things together, because I really liked the way Griff kind of laid out the songs for that, so there wasn't really too much thought for me other than making the drums drum. So So Much Brooding was from the initial times that we started writing a lot of the songs, we just really wanted to establish the sound that we wanted to go for. Probably some of my favorite like writing sessions I've ever had with like another musician. It seemed like every time that we like got together for practice and we're writing things or like putting together parts of songs, we just got more and more hyped on what we were getting with it.
I love that.
And it was it's my favorite music that I've ever been a part of, and some of the most fun I've ever had writing music with somebody. Just every aspect of it was seamless. Like both of us love feeding off of each other and love collaborating with each other. So to me it's the real establishing of what we were trying to do, what we're trying to do musically.
Sure.
I don't know. It will forever be one of the things I always think about with, any other musical endeavor. I'll be like, well, I don't know if it was like during that session. So,
Well, it was really cool, like third perspective, kind of like looking in at it, because I would listen back to their sessions, because essentially like I live in Cleveland, they live in Columbus, so I would drive about 2 hours to go practice with them prior to a show, so maybe once, twice a month, but they would still be practicing every week, and I would be trying to learn new songs just off of whatever room demos they're doing. What's really cool is like they'll just record the entire session. It'll be like 25 minutes of them just fucking around on like 3 riffs. And because I'm used to the structure of like, hey, I'm coming in with a verse, chorus, outro, here's the general structure. But like it's literally them just like, yo, that part was kind of sick. Let's do that again. And like it's exactly what like Jeremy said, is like you can hear over 25 minutes them get hyped and a song evolve from just Griffin playing like almost something on accident or like predetermined, and then like Jim comes in with a sick drum fill, and it's really cool.
Watching
it
evolve
really
in real time, basically.
Yeah, like it sounds natural even listening back to it. It's really weird, but it was cool even for me watching it happen.
Yeah, there's only one song on the record we didn't write together, like that I didn't show Jim ahead of time. He eventually wrote the drums to it, but like I basically completed it without him hearing one of the riffs on it. Pretty sure it was
that was even like another fun aspect of, just because I've never got an experience where somebody actually like pretty much had like showed me a final like structure for a song that I was like, hey, I
no notes.
No notes.
10 out of 10, no notes.
Let's get a lease. Get in the car.
I like it.
But to piggyback on what Matt was saying, like even now, if you go back and listen to, which I don't know if you've done this at all recently, Griff, but if you go back and listen to some of our practice sessions during that time period, you can like literally hear the moment in time when like a certain part was created, or when we were like, hey Griff, I like you. I like what you're doing. It's really interesting. It was seriously so fun.
Yeah, I've learned, especially writing with Jim. I've written with so many different people, including Matt, but what I've stopped doing with this band is coming with a full idea. because by the time, if I do that and play it in front of Jim, it's going to change, like, because he's going to hear it differently, and I'm going to go, oh shit, that was cool, let me do this instead. And like, so I just I'll make riffs that I'm like, hey, these are good enough to start a session together, but like I don't write full songs anymore, and we haven't done
collections of riffs in the same key in same tempo.
But yeah, I mean, that's I'll just come in, and sometimes I don't have anything, and he'll just start playing, and I'm like, hey, that sounds sick. So I mean, we've written many a song like that too. I mean, there's never really an agenda except for the song that we wrote or that I wrote without him, which I think was For the First Time Again. I think that was the one I did completely by myself.
Oh, really? The intro to the whole record.
Laughing.
No, because I played the laughing riffs in front of Jim before. Like those riffs.
Oh, okay.
Those riffs weren't new.
Right.
The version of those riffs were newer, but like Laughing had started as something way more upbeat, like those riffs. But the reason I wrote for the first time again, or the decision we made, was like we didn't have an intro. Like we wanted to make Yeehaw the intro, but I'm like, I don't think that's the right way to start the record, even though it's a 6 song. But for the first time again, like the idea was like, let's write a 2.5-minute song that incorporates the whole record into one song. So that was the goal. I was like, all right, let me take some of the riffs, some of the ideas, some of the vocals, and like just do it all in 2.5 minutes. And the riff that starts the record is very similar to the riff that ends the record too. The riff and toe tags it's not in the same key or anything, but it's a very similar pattern. So that was kind of intentional to be like, hey, let's kind of bridge the record together with this opening track. And that's one of my favorite songs on the record now. So it worked out really well. But yeah, Jim heard it once and was like, I got it. So
I do think it's a great establishing shot for the record, because it feels like it's got a lot of the themes and a lot of the sounds. It really kind of like, I don't think it's the strongest song on the record, but I think for where it is, it's perfect, because it kind of like establishes what everything else is about, which I really like a lot. And I think that just kind of having good pacing for a whole record like that is such a huge aspect. So I really like respect that decision to be like, we need an opener,
Yes, it was intentional, and we stressed over it, the track order and everything else. But I mean, I didn't realize I was writing a concept record until we were done with it, but like that's kind of what it ended up being, and especially with those lyrics and how it all kind of worked out. So I think it was exactly what we wanted, and we didn't even know it at the time. So
and just to talk more about that song too, just from like, I think Griffin, and Matt too, have all been doing this for a long time, but we the main reason that we Griff and I wanted to start the band was we don't feel like we ever got the chance to really go all the way in on something with a musical project for whatever reason, whether we didn't have the correct lineup of people that were all on the same page, or didn't have the same type of collaboration that Griff and I have, or like just chemistry in general. And that song just pretty much sums up like what we want to do as a band, all the initial talks that Griff and I had about even starting a band. So that's why it was also very, very important for it to be first. And
I like that.
Yeah, that's what that song's about. So I mean, that's why it's called For the First Time Again, because it's like a reintroduction. We kind of talk about it as like this is our last hurrah, not in music, but just like for us to go all in on something. We're like, hey, let's do the thing. We're all mid-30s. Life got in the way several other times, but we're like, hey, we're at a point where we're like, let's do this thing because we feel really passionate about it, and the response we're getting is way stronger than we thought. So we're like, okay, let's do it. So that's kind of what spurred the record on and what starts the record. So
hell yeah. So that's kind of like a through line of this whole record, is kind of that idea of like, going and just doing the damn thing. Essentially.
Yeah.
And I really like that personally. I think that there's a few songs that kind of like touch on that in different ways, and the self-doubt along the way of like, can I actually do this or not? And like I think that all of those beats are just so relatable to me. I wrote
that was my goal.
I wrote that Lonely Ghost Records community review about it. And that was one of the big things that I took away from listening to the record and actually reading through all the lyrics the entire time. Was I was like, this actually is like extremely conceptual.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Our producer challenged us with that. I didn't go into it with that. He brought it up like 6 months before we recorded it, and I was like, because we were going to do another EP, and I'm like, all right, bet, let's I'll try.
Right on.
And so that's how we got there. But yeah, I didn't know it at the time. That's what I was writing. But I mean, that was some of the darkest times and some of the best times of my life happened in that record. So I'm like, cool, let's just do it. Let's put it all out there. So.
Yeah. So you mentioned working with a producer. Who did you work with? Was it somebody out in Columbus?
Yeah, he's what is it, Groport or what? I don't know what it is. Not no, Galloway.
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
Sure.
But yeah, his name's Jacob Mooney. He's a producer in Columbus. He's got some decent credits to its name too. But Jim had actually worked with him before I had with a different project. We did the EP with him. He does it out of his house, so it's a very comfortable environment. But when it came time to do the record, we knew we were comfortable with him. We knew what we wanted. This is not a derogatory thing, but he's very good at making butt rock bands. So
okay,
we wanted a producer that didn't know our genre really and could make us sound big and somewhat bigger than we really are. So he did a great job in the EP, but when it came time to do this, we kind of split the duties. So we recorded the drums all live. We went to an actual studio called Vaughn in town, did them on a nice room, and Jim did all the drums. He did all songs in one day, so that was actually pretty impressive.
Damn.
He did all 10 songs. Technically, he played some of them twice because he played on 2 different kits. Yeah, so he did a great job with that. And then I recorded all the guitars and bass at home, and then did some of the background vocals at home. And then we kind of came together for, I think it was like 12 days total. And, mixed it, mastered it. I recorded vocals, all that kind of good stuff. So it was very much a collaborative effort on the album versus the EP. But I think he did a great job. And like, that's what the first thing people say when they hear it is like, holy shit, this sounds great. And I'm like, that's what we wanted. So
yeah. So it was kind of like a hybrid workflow. You did a little bit from home and a little bit in the studio. It feels like a lot of modern production is kind of moving that way because especially I know that you guys use Axe FX, Kemper. One of the two, right?
I use Quad Cortex.
Quad Cortex. Damn.
Yeah, same thing. But yeah,
I'm like, it's one of those. But anyway, especially with having all that stuff, like you can record that fucking anywhere you want.
That whole record is every guitar on there is all through the Quad Cortex.
And so it makes it incredibly easy to do all of that at home. You know, a lot of people can get really good results on like an SM7B or something like that, recording that from home. So it seems like that's kind of like the move for a lot of bands who want that really high quality sound but are on a bit more of a budget is to kind of do the drums in the proper studio, right? Yes. And then to do everything else a bit more at home. You mentioned the 2 drum kits. Was that more of like a flavor thing, or what was kind of the thought process there? I'm just curious as, a nerdy audio dude.
So with some of the parts in the songs, like it's kind of like, bigger parts. You want to be in a big room for it, so you get a lot of that natural reverb. Utilize the room mics a little bit more with the mix, and then with songs like Hard Pressed and Laughing in the Dark, and some parts. What else did I use it for? I don't remember.
Well, on Hard Pressed, you gotta. I don't think anybody knows this but us. But in the verses, if you listen, it's panned. There's 2 different drum kits on each side of your ears when you listen to the verses.
That's wild.
So it's almost like 6 toms are playing at the same time when you listen to it in your headphones. But yeah, one's like the dry kit and one's like the room kit basically that he's playing. So it was more to get like cool sounds like that too.
Yeah, like the other. So the main kit was set up in like the big studio room, and then the other like dryer kit that had a little bit more of a controlled sound to it and was more focused in with like the tone of the drums. That's in I think it's a vocal booth, isn't it? It was like a vocal booth.
It's primarily used as a vocal booth or like a drum or like a guitar cab room too.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, so more isolated room. And then the crazy thing is like we were listening back to both of them for I think Hard Press, and Jacob was just like, I want to put them both together. so yeah, we just ended up doing it because we really liked the sound of it. Like I don't know, it just meshed really, really well together.
That's super cool. And not to like gas you up to like crazy, but like for real, after seeing you guys live a few weeks ago out in Lansing and all that, I swear to God, like you're one of the tightest drummers I've seen.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him that.
Yeah, don't tell him that. Jim, don't listen. Earmuffs.
and like, I really do feel like that's like a big part of the sound of this record is just how
100%.
How fucking tight all those drum recordings are, and I can only imagine how much effort it took to get like you put the 2 together, and it's like you don't get any of that weird flamming or anything. Like, was that like was a lot of editing that went into that, or are you just that fucking on.
I mean, there's like a little bit of like, I mean, there's a little bit of editing, but we didn't do a lot to his drums. I mean, it was So the nice thing I think Jacob likes working with us is because like I'm an audio engineer too. We pre-pro everything at my house. I forgot to say that. Like this whole record was made before we made the record, so that was our.
I like it.
And we'll do that again. I mean, we do room demo to pre-pro demo to recording. I just don't want to be the one to mix it, or I don't want to like see how the sausage is made completely. So I'll do the pre-pro, but I won't do the final thing because I'll get too deep in it. So that's why we use Jacob.
That's the thing. It's hard when it's your own stuff. You kind of like get too lost in the sauce, and it's hard to be objective with it because it's your music for sure.
100%.
Yeah, very much. So the point of that is that Jim played it perfectly, even in pre-pro. So by the time we got to, I mean, he goes home and whips himself until he gets it right. We say that after every. We just had a practice and we're working on a new song, and he was like, "That's not good enough. I'm going to go home and work on that." So we'll do that every week. But like I said, he nailed all 10 songs in one day. And like I said, there was very little editing that we had to do for him. I mean, I can't even think of one. I just know we had to tweak something. But I mean, we're talking 1% of what he played.
Yeah. No, that's especially like in the modern day, it feels like it's so easy for some people to just have the idea of like, well, it's good enough. We can nudge it. We can fix things. And I really do respect the wanting to go in there and just fucking do it right.
I hate that motto more than anything of just it's good enough. So it bothers me to my core to like not do it exactly how I hear it in my head or play it to its perfection.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts because it feels like a missed opportunity or like, plus there's, when I was younger and like doing drum sessions for different bands or different projects like that, it's like, I'll hear something and I'm like, I didn't play that exactly. And it's like that delay pedal. Like, have you ever seen that delay pedal? Like, I think it's a Vine or something. It's a TikTok too, but yeah, he just plays the wrong note on a delay pedal and he hears it the rest of the day. That is.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I know what you're talking about.
So, and plus, I just hate sloppy playing just in general. So
no, I do feel like that's a big part of the sound of this record is just how tight everything is: guitars, vocals, bass, drums, like the whole thing. Everything is just so bang on.
I appreciate
that. That was a goal. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for noticing.
Yeah, no, like legitimately, that was what stood out to me. I was like, this is like incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of bands in the genre aren't, into that. And like I said, we've been doing this long enough. We've done enough recordings that like that was just a goal. It was like, hey, we want it to sound this way. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, to do a recording like that, but it's just that's what we wanted, and we think it rules. Hopefully other people do too. But yeah, I know that it's kind of a weird thing in this genre to have a record that sounds like that, because that's not what they all sound like for sure. And that doesn't matter because I love records that sound horrendous, but
that's the thing. You can really embrace the slop and lean into it, and I think that can make a great record too. But I think it's knowing which direction you want to go with and really embracing it.
Exactly, and I think it also suits styles too. I think it would be very weird if I played in a very loosey-goosey type of band like that. Also, I'd probably lose my mind, but because I'm a nut. But yeah, like, I mean, that is in no way to sound dismissive of that style or like negative towards it. Like, there's plenty of records that sound fantastic and have a very loose style to them.
Yeah. For sure. Is there anything else that you guys specifically want to bring up about this record before we move on?
Hey, go ahead. I mean, I think we pretty much talked about all the things. I mean, other than just like how fun the recording session was, and just just being super excited to go to the studio every day was different for me, because as a drummer, usually it's like, hey, day one, thanks for everything.
Yeah. I'll see you later.
Yeah, we'll see you later. But I really it was so fun just like being a part of the entire process.
Yeah, no, it was a blast. I mean, the only thing we probably haven't mentioned is like, the title was So Much Brooding. I mean, that's one, it's a Batman quote. If you ever played Arkham City.
Oh, hell yeah.
Matt?
Yeah, first of all, Matt's never played the Arkham games.
I'm working on it.
He's not working on shit, so don't believe him.
I'll load it up. Let's go.
Yeah, he's had plenty of time. But I think the Joker says it to Batman in some kind of scene, but he says, so much brooding, it's not good for you, and that just always stuck with me. But the record, I mean, me and Jim have talked about this before. What we think is a little bit different about Manor Gates is like, I come from a very metal, mathy, background. I mean, all genres, but like I don't know. Manor Gates is more angry than I think emo bands are.
Okay.
And that's kind of where the title, the lyrical content comes from. I mean, I know there's angry music out there, but when we see or hear a lot of the bands in our genre, it's a little more sad or like, self-loathing kind of stuff. But like, I'm usually pretty angry about something, and that's how I get all that out. Is I'm not an angry person in real life, but I get it out in music.
Sure.
So that's kind of where all that comes from, and why the record is what it is and why it's titled that. So we hope it makes this a little unique, but I don't think people are expecting that half the time. So
for sure, being a metalhead myself, that might be part of the reason why it like resonated so much with
so,
me.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We all grew up in heavy backgrounds, so yeah.
I like
that. The second they asked me to play, I'm like, can I be the dude from the Chariot? Like, I'm gonna hurt somebody with this bass. Let's go.
You were at the show. Yeah, you were at the show where you saw him throw his bass up in the air.
Dude,
so.
that was fucking insane. That was wild. And that's a fucking Firebird too. That's not a small instrument. That thing is giant.
Yeah, I gotta keep it in a whole ass coffin.
Yeah, it's in a coffin case. Dracula lives in it.
It's fucking awesome. Yeah,
that's amazing.
I can't. But I mean, yeah, like as soon as they asked me, I was like, because I normally play guitar in front in bands, so the opportunity to be like, hey, I'm treating this like a fucking hardcore band. Like I was so pumped, like because we're coming out of the pandemic at the time, and I hadn't played a lot of live shows in a while. I'm like, yeah, we're thrashing around, like so. I think that mentality for all three of us shows in different ways, and I think that's I would like to think that's what makes us unique. Not only in recording, but like how we treat our live performance as well.
For sure. So you guys had mentioned that you are starting to work on new material in practice and stuff like that. Is currently the plan to be playing a lot more shows throughout the summer and then starting to work on writing and recording the next release later in the year? Are we looking towards another release relatively soon? I realize that it's only been 6 months, but the internet moves hella fast, so
it does. From a show perspective, we're currently booking out the rest of our year, so we're doing weekenders every month. We're working on a tour that we can't talk about just yet, but so we're doing something every month this year for sure is our goal. We can't tour full time just yet. We've all got lives and jobs and kids and all that kind of stuff, but we're getting there. So we just kind of started writing. I've got a handful of riffs, so we're not anywhere near that yet. I don't know if we're going to do an EP or a record, but collectively we talked if we were going to do something, we probably wouldn't be able to record it till the beginning of next year, just so we can perfect what we're working on. But if the opportunity arises to where we can release a single or do a split or an EP, I mean, it just depends on what's coming down the pike. We're open to all that, but I don't think there's anything set in stone yet.
Okay. Yeah, right on. Is there anything else that you guys specifically want to mention before we start sharing some new tunes that we've been listening to?
I have something that I think you'll appreciate.
All right, shoot. Oh boy.
he left. That's fine.
He has left the chair. I have something you'll appreciate.
Yeah.
Me leaving.
I know you're a Red Wings fan,
yes.
So I thought you'd appreciate this. Dominic Hasek.
Oh, hell yeah. That is amazing.
He was
my favorite goaltender.
I like it.
Favorite goaltender.
I like it. I do appreciate that a lot.
I'll say collectively as a band, we play a game called Hunt Showdown. People should look into that so we get more players in there. It's a fantastic PC game. We've been playing it together for almost 4 years now. So
if you want to play video games with the band Manor Gates, get that game. It's very likely you will match make with them.
we talked about should we do a Twitch? Should we do some kind of something? But I think
it would be so awesome to like do a Twitch or like just even in Discord if we could, just like,
hey, if there's interest, let us know. I mean, I'm sure we'll be permabanned pretty quickly, but yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, we get all we think we're hilarious. Like we get clips like every week. It's great.
Yeah, I got a soundboard that I use while we play. I mean,
it sounds like wild. You're already doing the thing. You're just not putting it on Twitch yet.
No, yeah,
we're basically doing it. We're just not showing it to other people.
Gotcha.
We can tone it down for the internet, though.
All right. So moving on to the next part of the episode, this is where we're going to share some new tunes that we've been listening to lately from up and coming underground bands that we just feel, or artists that we just feel like deserve a bit more love shown to them than what they are currently getting. So I understand, because there's only 4 of us right now, and we're trying to do 10 songs. So how are we splitting up your guys' choices? Are we just everybody's doing 2 and then you'll choose 2 together?
Yes, yeah, everybody's got 2 and then we collectively decided on 2.
All right, sounds good. So I'll go first. We'll kind of go around and then we'll end with the 2 that you guys are collaborating with at the end. So my first song is by a band that I found on Twitter, like how I find most of my music these days, it seems like. But it's a band called After Wednesday, and they kind of have emo tendencies and that sort of thing, as a lot of the Twitter bands that I tend to associate with these days do. But this song in particular, I thought was really interesting because when I was listening to it, it kind of has this, the song is called Worst of Luck, and it kind of has this like 80s driving at night vibe, if you know what I'm talking about. Like when you hear it, you'll get what I'm talking about. Like, and I think it's such an interesting song. The song is called The Worst of Luck. It cut out there for a second, but
that's a sick false ending.
Man, that song is so much fun.
It reminds me of Code 7 a little bit.
Hey, baby.
Hey,
Baby, I'm roped and tied.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that bass line was sick.
Yeah, it's such an interesting throwback sound to me because I feel like this is like a very like 80s, maybe 90s a little bit like throwback, but it's more like the kind of like arena rock sound as opposed to like a lot of the throwback stuff that you're hearing, which is a lot more of like kind of based on like those early synth sounds and like the big arpeggios and like all that kind of stuff. This is a lot more. There's a song by The Who from like the late 70s, early 80s that this kind of reminds me of too, but I can't think of the name of it right now. But like just that throwback I think is so neat.
Yeah, that's that was your description was pretty accurate. Like,
yeah, that was great.
It was pretty close to some like Miami Vice shit. Like that was
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's just, to me, it sounds like driving at night, and I don't know how to quantify that, but when I hear it, I'm just like, fuck yeah.
With you saying that, you put me like right in the headspace for it. Like I could imagine the windows down in my fucking, I don't know, some 80s car.
Gonna save that to my Spotify.
Oh hell yeah! And then like that riff too, the dun 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 dun, like it's such an earworm instantly. Like I feel like it's rare that you hear like a riff that is that catchy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed it from St. Louis, by the way. That's not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Seems like an LA band, but
yeah, that's the vibe I got.
I do get that for sure. Yeah. And then the that one vocal run that they continue to do the
that's what makes me think of Code 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sick. All right. So what do we have up next? Who wants to go first? Who volunteers as tribute?
I can go as tribute. I changed mine because you made a comment about unknown bands, and one of mine was too known. So I'm going to change mine. So I mean, all these bands are known, but you know.
This next song, Slipknot.
Yeah. It's Slipknot, baby. This is People Equal Shit. Have you heard it?
Not in a very long time.
I was on repeat in this house. Come on now. So my first pick is going to be from a split that just came out a few weeks ago with Aren't We Amphibians and Just Let Me Go. I want to try to do this in the chat correctly.
I feel like this again.
Now that's a fucking song.
So that's a 2.5 minute song, and I think half of it is false endings.
I love it. That's why I thought it was the perfect pick.
I like
that was
it.
Time Sensitive Dessert by Aren't We Amphibians?
Yes. So that was off of the split that they just put out. That was what, about a month ago? Yeah.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, with Just Let Me Go. Do you know any of the background behind this? Because like when you look at the split on streaming, both of the songs are just credited to Aren't We Amphibians?
That may be my mistake. I don't know.
I was gonna say, do you know if they like collaborated on the two songs, and so it's just the two
I don't
bands
think so.
that
They're
are
both
together?
California bands. I think they just know each other. So yeah, I don't know the backstory. I mean, the other side of the split is Just Let Me Go, but it is sorted weird on streaming for some reason.
Yeah, on streaming it just says that they're both by Aren't We Amphibians, which is
Well,
interesting.
sorry, it's a 4-song, so there should be two from each.
Oh shoot! Okay, maybe.
Yeah. So that's why it's split weird. You have to like go to.
Oh, gotcha. Only half of it is out on.
Yeah.
On
So you have to go. You
see.
have to go to Just Let Me Go's. You know, you've seen that like on Spotify, where sometimes they'll do it like as various artists, or sometimes they'll do it as themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, if you go to Just Let Me Go's page, you can see the other two songs,
There
which
we
are
go.
also good.
Yes.
But yeah, a little bit different sound. But yeah, I heard that. I heard that song, and I posted on Twitter immediately and said that it made my teeth itch. That bass line at the beginning, like as soon as that bass kicks in, I'm like, oh, hello.
Dude, the tone is so huge. That's like something that I really like is a bass tone that has like crazy articulation. Like you feel like you're like inside the bass almost. Like,
I need the string noise
crazy.
sometimes. I mean, you need
yeah.
it's a heater for sure.
Yeah, the modern emo darlings, Aren't We Amphibians? Because they haven't put it. They put their first stuff out last year, right?
Yeah, they put out Emergency Exit, which was like a 6-song EP. When was that? October of last year.
That was in October. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was when everybody first kind of started to go nuts for them. It seemed like. Yeah,
well, that green hoodie they put out is everywhere on everybody's body, so it's kind of hard to not to get away from them. But
it's true, it is.
Seen it everywhere. But they're still, still relatively unknown. But yeah, they're another 3-piece.
I like seeing the 3-pieces and how like different bands utilize their different members, if that makes sense. Because I know that like sometimes, and especially like in a live situation, because you can do whatever you want in the studio. You can track as many parts as you want, and it essentially be, a 20-piece band if you want to. But how bands do it live is always really interesting to me, whether it's, they write songs that just have the 3 parts, or they use tracks like you guys do, because you guys definitely have the whole dual guitar thing going, but only one guitar player.
Yes.
Which I was actually really surprised about, because when I first heard it, I hadn't like seen you guys. I had just heard your music, so I figured that you were a 4-piece. And so when I saw that you were a 3-piece, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, we did it without tracks before, and then recently, as of this year, started playing everything with tracks until it click, and we've got some backup vocals and stuff like that. But it's made a world of difference. Like it's made to me, it's made our set so much more fun. So I appreciate it when bands add that little extra to it if they can, just because it just fills it out. But it depends on what you're playing too. So
for sure, there's definitely stuff that's like more garagey that just like would not make sense to play with tracks. There's a few really cool bands around the Detroit scene, which is where I'm at. That do some really interesting things as 2-piece bands.
Oh, yeah.
There's a band that I've mentioned about a year ago, I think. I haven't actually played any of their stuff, but I've mentioned them a couple times because I've seen them live. They're called Checker, and it's a 2-piece that one of them is a drummer and a singer, and then the other guy plays a baritone guitar that he runs through a guitar amp and like an octaver and a bass amp. So he's like running it in parallel through 2 different rigs so that it kind of sounds like a bass and kind of sounds like a guitar. And it's really interesting to watch them live because it sounds larger than life, and it's just these 2 people up on stage. It's kind of crazy.
Me and Matt did
it's
a 2-piece
super cool.
Similar to that. I played drums, sang in that, and Matt played guitar, and he had 2 different rigs to do something very similar. That was screamo band we were in years ago.
Nice.
I love setups like that. If done right, it's really sick. Like bands that can balance the low end and like the high end, I think it's super sick. Some bands I think will fall victim to leaning too heavy into one direction or another, and you're like, hey, that's mud, or hey, that's a tube screamer.
Yeah.
But like. But bands that can find that right balance, like, totally fucking rip. Like 1994 is like one of my favorite fucking screamo bands. It's a 2-piece, and just pure chaos. Awesome guitar tone. I love them. They were great.
There's another really cool, just while we're on the subject of like, smaller bands that do really interesting things live. There's another really cool group from Detroit called Summer Like the Season. And I featured one of their songs on an episode last year. They actually just released a new project as of recording this past Friday. But they're also really interesting because they've got another drummer who's also a vocalist, interestingly enough.
Okay. We're out there.
Yeah, and and then the other guy, he plays just a bunch of different synthesizers and drum machines and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
sick.
I'm not sure, but I don't think that they use tracks. I think that they have all of the stuff, and he's playing all the different stuff and like doing and using like loopers and stuff like that live. And it's a really interesting experience to see them. I think they're in the middle of a tour right now. By the time this comes out, it'll probably be over. But if you can ever catch them, because they do tour nationwide, if you can ever catch them, they're super cool. So what do we have up next?
I could go.
Whoa.
Alrighty.
Whoa.
Hey.
You're going to have to thumb wrestle.
Yeah. Sit down, Jim. All right. How do I do this? I actually just found this track this week. It is Permanent Holiday by Thomas Powers featuring Now Now. I found it from the Now Now connection. Super chill, super melodic, fun balance of like synths and soft vocals. Really hits a sweet spot for me.
Interesting.
But I'm super pumped because, like, I've been a Now Now fan since they've been Now Now Every Children, I think. So I was super pumped to see them do anything else. I think it was really just more their drummer helped write and produce this. It was his name, Brad or something. But, yeah, let's see if this works.
It's either missing out or chasing trends. Self-esteem and deep regret. Accolades, they won't forget. While we're on holiday, permanent holiday, permanent holiday, permanent holiday. You did your best. Now take a bow. Your brightest days are behind you now. And maybe when this all ends, you and we can begin again.
So yeah, that's
Ooh.
that song.
I like that a lot. Oh,
Oh, maybe it's not done. Ah! Jesus took the wheel. Maybe it's done. I don't know. It could be done. I don't know.
sometimes it just cuts out randomly. But yeah, no, that sounded super cool.
Yeah, that's I would say so. I'm super like heavy music, always have been, but on the opposite side, like I love like the super soft like indie emo stuff, like early Death Cab for Cutie, Empire. I Was Lonely State is like my favorite emo band. Like I said, I've been a huge fan of Now. So this scratched the itch. I think it was actually Sunday on my way home from Griff. This came on, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Obviously, it's not like an ass beater of a song or like anything with like a crazy hook, but like yeah, for me, like that's chef's kiss. That was perfect, especially like towards the end. There's like the synth riff that comes in that reminds me of Purity Ring, like in their synth sounds. I was like, hell yeah, this is sick.
Okay. No, I definitely have an appreciation for like just the very lush, like just kind of gradual build and then like very dynamic, like kind of riding a wave almost. I really like that a lot for sure. I'm actually not familiar with Now. Can you give me a little bit of background on them?
I think they're where are they from? Minnesota area, I think. It was a 2-piece for a while. Changed their name. They were Now Every Children. I think their first album was Cars. They came back out as just Now as a 3-piece. Oh crap! Who was the other guitarist? Griff. She had her own solo project for a little bit on Top Shelf.
Poster's right over here. Tancred.
Yeah. I can't remember her name. But yeah. So got another guitarist, did an EP, and then did an album called Threads, and Threads is really, really good. Great indie record. Bass tone on it is stupid good. Like it's like really, really good. Like the second track like just kicks in with like fucking drums and bass. You're like, what is happening? Why is this so good?
I'm adding this to my library right now so I can check it out after we're done recording.
Yeah, they blew up on Threads. Threads is fantastic. The next album they took a break and came back as more of like a pop, synth pop kind of duo. I don't know if it really got as much attention because like Threads was way more emo. I think it scratched a lot more of like the somber feel, but the next album, which I'm drawing a blank on because I'm not looking at it, is really fucking good. I love it a lot. I got a chance to see them live playing off that record, and it was fabulous. Holy Waters is like one of my favorite songs off that album. But yeah, that album shifted more into like the pop synth kind of vibes, a little bit of hip hop influence in spots, but I loved it. Like that, like I said, that's one of my like happy spots is like that kind of music. So I love it.
Right on. Yeah. One of the interesting things to me about this were all of the different like vocal effects and stuff like that. I think that's one of the things that like this type of music is very interesting because they do so much dynamically and like with textures and stuff.
Yeah.
And so the tremolo on the vocals is like a very interesting texture to me.
100%. And one of the things I really liked a lot is they do, I think, I don't even know what the song structure well enough, but one of the verses or something, they start doing like in the background a fade in reverse vocal of whatever the line is he's about to do. And it just reminds me of like Postal Service and like Death Cab and shit like that. And Griff actually did that on the Ghastly Grinner off of our album, which is sick too. So, a lot of, the producer in me is like, hey, this rips, and I have no idea who Thomas Powers is. I've never listened to any of his other songs or their other songs. They could suck, but this one's cool. I don't know. Let's all check it out. Let's all check it out together and find out. We'll circle back in like next quarter.
No, yeah, but you touched on that too, like kind of coming from the production background, this type of music is really interesting, even if it's not like a catchy tune that like a lot of people are gonna put on. Like you can just kind of chill and just like really sink your teeth into like the layers of like this kind of stuff. And also coming from a production background, that was like something that I was just like, this is so lush and huge and like well arranged too, because like stuff like that's kind of like the same feeling a lot of the time. You really have to be very dynamic with how you arrange it so that it like doesn't start getting stale. And I never once felt bored listening to this.
Yeah, because there's stuff going on in the background. So listening to this is the first time I've actually listened to it in the headphones. I've only listened to it in the car, like coming home from Griffin's house and then like on my way to work this week. And I was like, oh shit, there's shit I didn't hear before. So I love that. Like little Easter eggs like that are so much fun for me.
Or like the crowd noise at the very end too.
Yeah, stuff like that.
This is also, for this episode, the freshest find so far because it came out last Friday. So
Yeah, it was on my release radar. Like I said, this popped on. Like, funny enough, this came on after a Kubla Khan song that just came out, and I was like, "Where are we?"
Yeah.
That's like the craziest whiplash ever. Holy shit!
My algorithm's fucked on all platforms. Like, it's just we're going 90 on the highway, and then my car is like, "Nah, we're going to reverse. Check this shit out on Spotify. It's wild."
I'll do it again.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
I like that. All right, so what do we have up next?
We have a band from Ohio from
The Manor Gates?
Yeah, what are they about?
Okay, fuck.
It's Heart Attack Man, actually.
They're called Glass Bones from the Ashbula, Akron area. This is off their, I believe it's an EP that they released earlier. No, it's an album they released earlier this year. I love this guitar riff so much, and we're gonna listen to it.
Polarizing figure, a small man looking up. Now it's time to ride, concentrated alibi. Proud that you became compassionate within. Take my hand, we only have a few years left. Retired from the mess. Why choose this I'm jumped up at the thought. I'm grateful for what I've got. A rare taste of holding it together.
I was waiting for it.
That we're all just like, is it actually a?
I put my seatbelt on.
Yeah, it's gonna happen again.
This is what you showed us the other day, isn't it?
This is what I showed you the other day.
I didn't realize they changed all their stuff to Glass Bones.
Yeah, they did. Oh, so backstory. They used to be called City Cop,
Oh, okay.
but in the light of some of the events that were happening around 2020 with police brutality, they no longer wanted to be associated with that name, so they changed their name to Glass Bones.
Sure.
But Eddie, Max, and Cody, I don't think I met CJ, but in a previous band that I was in, used to play a decent amount of shows with them, and I just always really liked the things that they put out. Max is a phenomenal guitarist. I love Eddie's vocals. He also has a solo project, which, what is it called?
Oh, it starts with an A. Olimar.
I'll have to look it up.
Olimar, I'm guessing. I'm just looking at the fans also like on
Crushed
Spotify,
it.
the related
Got
artists.
it in one.
Which is also really good, and Cody is a fabulous drummer. Put on a really, really good show as well. I have not seen a show with them playing that I didn't enjoy. And yeah, Max plays acoustic guitar to, essentially grind beats. So They're very sick, great people.
They go back a ways too. From what I can see, their first record or their first EP was 2013, and then it looks like, because there's still some City Cop stuff on Spotify as well, that's 2012.
Yeah.
So they've been doing it for a while. Hey.
Yeah, they've been doing. I think they started when they were in high school, and then have been doing it ever since.
Their vocalist has like a very classic sound to me, and I can't place who it reminds me of, but like immediately, like when I heard that voice, I was like, I feel like I've heard this before. You know, it's also very interesting that like that guitar riff sounds very banjo-y to me, which I think is
acoustic, isn't it? For most of their stuff. Yeah, they have an acoustic guitar in the band, yeah.
Yeah, but just like the pattern of like the notes, the way that they like arpeggiate the chords feels very banjo-y to me. Yeah. And that was like one of the first things that stood out to me, which I thought was really interesting.
Max is such a good guitarist. Very, very creative. Very, very smart.
But like before the kind of like, you know, crazy ass grind beat basically that comes in and, you know, sucker punches you in the face, I was like, their drumming style actually reminds me a lot of yours with the like really fast, tight like rolls and stuff like that, and like a lot of use of the snare drum. Like I was first hearing that and I'm like, okay, I see why he's into this. This sounds very much like kind of like his style.
Yeah, he's so fun to watch too. He's just such a good drummer.
I dig it. I like that a lot for sure. So my next song is actually one that we are premiering on the episode. This is going to be the only place that you can hear it for a week before it's released. It's by an artist that goes by Iffin, and they are they call themselves Baroque Chamber Pop from Seattle.
Those are words.
It's really interesting to me because it's kind of like experimental music, at least in my opinion, but it's kind of got the pop song structure and a lot of use of like folk instruments, which I think is really interesting. They have an EP coming out that's called Homage to Catatonia, Picaro Part 2, which comes out on May 1st. And the song that we're going to listen to right now is called Document of Descent. And the thing that I really like about it is that it starts out with a mandolin, which is one of my favorite instruments of all time.
Someone who never asked for it.
Yeah, I dig that.
Yeah, it's like a very interesting sound because it's got this like very like big kind of like ethereal kind of quality to it, but it's also like like I mentioned the use of folk instruments and like a kind of more poppy kind of song structure to it.
Yeah, it reminds me of like REM or something like.
Yeah,
spot on.
For
Fucking
sure.
Spot on.
Which is it's not a bad thing. It's reminding me of that.
Yeah.
It also reminds me of a Gang of Youths too. I don't know if you know that band.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that too. But yeah, the drums and the bass line were sick.
Yeah.
Super full sound all around, which I loved. Yeah, I think the production was a lot of fun on that. There's a lot of things happening in a very good way. I love the layering of the folk instruments. It was very good.
Yeah, to me, like you mentioned that there's a lot of layering, but like it never feels distracting to me.
Yeah.
Because that can be a tendency, especially like because there's kind of like some crazy shit going on in the background, and like sometimes that can be like it'll draw your attention too much. And I feel like this is like the perfect amount of arrangement for this type of tune.
Yeah, it really just made it sound big. It wasn't distracting. It just sounded big, and I think that's a fun take on like more folk music. Usually I like folk a lot. One of my big drawbacks is like when it just sounds like it's like recorded on one SM58 and it's just mono and like all mids. So like hearing folk that's kind of like fully produced, and I think that was great. I liked it a lot.
And then of course, like I mentioned, the mandolin, which is like my personal favorite folk instrument. I've utilized it on a couple of songs that I've written as well, and I just think it always adds like such an interesting texture to it because it's like got this built-in chorus effect essentially, because you're never going to get those doubled strings perfectly in tune. Same with like a 12-string guitar or something like that too, but it's got more like jangle to it,
Right. Hey, I mean, it was great. Go to manorgates.com. I'm selling cassettes of the whole thing now. Pre-leaked. It's going to be great.
Oh, that's manorgatesmusic.com?
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Added the music.
No, he's actually starting his own website just for the knockoff tape business.
It's just bootleg cassettes of other bands.
It's also going to be bootleg cassettes of Manor Gates.
As well.
We need that out there. Don't worry.
Just the songs that we don't like to play. That's it.
They're all going to be very low quality MP3s put onto tape.
I can live with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad all around.
All right, what do we have up next?
Is it me again? I think.
Perhaps. Yeah, I think so.
So mine is not brand new. It's from last fall, but I am re-listening to it again recently. So it's new to me, but it's by a band called 2319. The song is called Everything in Between. Let's listen, then we can talk about it.
Oh, I love that. That's so good.
Yeah, that's a ripper. So that's 2319. It's all spelled out one word.
Is that a Monsters Inc. reference? That's when he's got
Oh,
the
yeah, I think
sock
it
on
is.
his back.
Yeah.
I
Got
think it is.
2319.
Yeah, I assume that's what they're referencing. I've never really researched it, but that would make a lot of sense. It's kind of a super group of like two Philly bands. So it's
Oh, really?
well, it's a couple members from Sweet Pill. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I have heard of them for sure.
They're getting pretty big in the genre, the emo genre. About to do a really their first headliner tour that's selling out. Actually, seen them Saturday. I forgot.
Nice.
So that's Sweet Pill, and then another Philly band called Typo Pro, I believe is how you say it.
Yep.
But either way, just fantastic musicians. 2319 just put out that EP last fall, and then they've got an album from like 2019. So it's not really like their main focus, the people in the band, but man, they just write some really just feel good, fun music like that. So like as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, this is for me. So,
Yeah, no.
it just grooves. I love it.
That like neck position strat sound with the delay. Oh man,
baby.
I tell you
Baby.
what.
Oh baby.
I love that sound so much.
Yeah.
Especially with the muting and the
Yeah.
It sounds like a spring reverb too, so it's really like kind of spanky sounding. Like
Yeah, that's the best word. It's spanky's the best word for it. I mean,
yes.
it's really the only word.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that whole EP rips though. Definitely check it out.
And it really is just like so feel good too, you know. Like that was the first thing. Like I heard it and just like instantly like, all right, smiles.
It's very summertime vibe. I mean, they released it in the fall, but it's got a fall vibe too, I guess. But yeah, it just feels like a windows down, 70 degrees outside kind of a vibe to me. So yeah, I
have a playlist with exactly that vibe, so I think that's going right on there. So let's see. That came out last year, you said?
Yeah, the EP dropped August 31st, 2023.
Okay, so like end of the summer. That definitely feels like a Dog Days of Summer type of vibe for sure.
The air's could be a little more crisp getting into September. I mean, depending on where you're at in the world.
Yeah. I made a joke about that a little while ago. It was when Neck Deep released their new album, and it was like in February.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like this very like summery pop punk kind of sound. I'm like, they released this for the Australians because this is not for us.
Not our summer.
Right? Yeah.
Aren't they? They're Australian though, aren't they?
Actually, I think that they are an Australian band. I didn't even think about that when I like made that joke. I was just like, they released this for the Australians because it's the dead of winter right now.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't for us.
Right.
We just happen to be privy to it.
Exactly.
All right, what do we have up next?
All right. This one's new to me. I think it's probably a year or two old, so my apologies, but it's new to me.
Not fresh.
Came up.
No.
Yeah, right. I don't know how it's this dude, PD. I like this band Dury a lot, and it was like on a playlist of that, and I think this was like B-sides to something. Fun fact about me: I love B-sides.
Don't get us started.
Yeah, don't. So I was pretty excited.
Yeah, we're not saying B-sides in a good way, by the way.
We're talking briskets on hot dogs type shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the B-side. But I like it a lot. This is The Same Chords by PT.
All my favorite songs use the same chords in different order, so you're thinking that I'm playing something different. And all my favorite songs use the same chords. Part of life is tricking people that you're really good at something. And lately I've been scared to go to work. There ain't nothing that's more dangerous than a man losing control. You try to tell him that his job is not his work, that being a great dad is cooler than running a hedge fund. Here's the sound of your good buddy fucking up. Said it's hard to be productive with that poison in your gut. You gotta call him once a week to say what's up. Cause there ain't nothing more important than you're checking up on buds. I said there's nothing more important than you're checking up on buds. Cause there ain't nothing more important than you're checking up on buds. I said there's nothing more important than you're checking up on buds. Cause there ain't nothing more important than you're checking up on buds. I said there's nothing more important than you're checking up on buds. Cause there ain't nothing more important than you're checking up on buds. I said there's nothing more important than you're checking up on buds. I said there.
You're into that really like atmospheric sound designy shit, hey?
Welcome to Matt.
I like it. I dig the vibe.
I'm not surprised by any of those picks, but I actually really like that. That was good. The lyrical content was good.
Yeah. Hey,
Tell me you don't
win.
like what he
A win is
normally
a win.
listens to
Yeah.
without telling me.
Hey, I listen to stuff like this, but Matt really listens to stuff like
Yeah. No, I think what really drew me to this one is like the lyrical content of it. I think some of the lines are like in the beginning of it are great about like tell a man his job is not his work and shit. I think that really resonates a lot. And one of the things I like about PD, because I kind of went down a rabbit hole maybe a month ago after I found this, and like he kind of walks this weird line of like his songs being a joke and serious at the same time. Like it's got like I mean like the whole
Hard.
first.
you wouldn't like something like that.
No,
Not my guy.
not me.
Not my guy. Not Matt Celia.
But like, yeah, I mean, like, it goes from something serious, like this is the sound of your good buddy fucking up, to this, like, hey, you gotta be checking up on buds, man. And I'm like, perfect. That's me.
This is true.
He's also like a TikTok comedian, right?
Yeah,
because
I found that after the fact. I put two and two together. I didn't realize that dude did this music until afterwards, and I was like, whoa!
See, I was the opposite. I had seen him on TikTok first, and I heard somebody talking about like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see PD live next week or something like that. And I was like, oh, is he doing like a comedy tour or something like that? And then like a week later, I was listening to something. And one of his songs, which one was it? I'll Wait, from his most recent album, kind of just like auto played on radio after what I was listening to. And I hate to say this because it sounds backhanded, but like you hear that like an artist blew up on TikTok or like that's like their big thing, and you just automatically are like skeptical going in. You're like,
right,
all right, is this going to be like cringy? Is this going to be not good? And I listened to it and I'm like, holy shit, this is really, really good.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was, so interesting because I just knew him as the guy who made a sketch about when your friend takes an edible that's too strong.
Well, it's funny because
I found him through another kind of TikTok band, Dury. They kind of blew up from their reels. So I was like, hey, 2 for 2 in this arena. So that's cool.
Dury are also incredibly good.
What'd you say?
I want to need everybody to go to his website because it's amazing. it's pdswebsite.com. Please go to it.
All right. We're getting derailed. I like it. Oh my God.
Amazing.
I'm not going to say that this is a reflection of me, but this is definitely...
I think you found your brother.
Okay, so seeing that reminds me. We'll get back on track in a minute. But are you guys familiar with Bill Wirtz?
Why does that sound familiar?
He blew up on YouTube for doing the history of the world video.
Yeah.
The sun is a deadly laser. That whole thing.
Yeah.
He does like a lot of like really weird, like kind of avant-garde jazzy pop tunes.
Yeah.
His website is also incredibly interesting. It's just billwirtz.com.
Amazing.
I still do the round a lot.
Yeah.
From History of the World.
Yeah.
Classic video. Wow, that video has 166 million views. Holy hell.
How old is that? It's got to be like almost
6
a
years
decade
old.
old now.
It says 6 years old, but that's probably
There's
not
no
accurate.
way.
There's
No way.
I feel like that's at least 15 years old.
Fake news.
Yeah. Maybe a re-upload or something.
Could be.
Either way, yeah. Good derail.
Yeah. So you said that this was kind of like a B-sides record. What was it?
Yeah.
B-sides 2.
I think it's B-sides to his album Lean Into Life. This one was just listed like other stuff. And I think it was just like 4 or 5 extra songs. And yeah, this is the song that came on. I was like, oh shit, this is sick. And,
Real shit?
Yeah, right? So then I listened to Lean Into Life and the new album, and they're both like really, really good. I really like Don't Tell the Boys. I think that's a great song off of Lean Into Life. Again, that's like a fun one that kind of plays back and forth between like the seriousness of like male friends like actually supporting each other and then like joking around doing dumb shit. So like I don't know, it's fun. It's a fun set of songs I found. Yeah, I got nothing else on it.
That's a
story.
vibe for sure, though, and I do like when you're able to find artists that are able to pair their lyrical content with like a little bit of like something else as well. Like it's deep, but it's also like kind of funny in a way. Not that it's being a comedy song, but it just has humor built into it. You know, I think
it takes a little bit of the edge off.
Yeah, like all the best lyricists have some sort of like wit or like something that like you can kind of be like, oh, I see what you did there. And so yeah, I totally get that for sure. I like that a lot. What's up next?
Up next, it's new to me.
All right.
Within the last like couple weeks, I heard this. I had no idea who this dude was. Apparently, he was on American Idol. But I love this song. I'm a sucker for like old school country tunes.
Okay.
I like this song too.
I grew up listening to like Johnny Cash and Elvis and Patsy Cline and Hank Williams Jr. So this stuff just feels great to me.
I ain't one to have a plan. I ain't ever been a man. I'll fold every single hand. I don't know shit about cars. Well, I tend to drink a lot, and I tend to get real lost. I learned nothing from my pops. I don't know shit about cars. I'll bum one more cigarette. The only spirit that I've met runs straight through my head. I don't know shit about cars. I'm the last of my kind. Is bullheaded right. I get lonely at night, filling up my dreams with steep gasoline. Got up to 583. I ain't scared of the dark. I still break my own heart. I don't know shit about cars. Well, I ain't one to pick a fight. I guess I'm never in the right. I've fallen further than I'd like. I'm a lost cause at best. I get sad when it rains, singing songs out of my range. Lose my voice on the stage. I'm a lost cause at best. I'm the last of my kind. Is bullheaded right. I get lonely at night, filling up my dreams with steep gasoline. Got up to 583. I ain't scared of the dark. I still break my own heart. I don't know shit about cars. Have a plan, And I ain't ever been a man. I'll fold every single hand. Still don't know shit about cars. I'm the last of my kind. It's bullheaded right. I get lonely at night, filling up my dreams with steam gasoline. Got up to 583. I ain't scared of the dark. I still break my own heart. I don't know shit about cars.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you right now, every fucking time it comes to that bridge instrumental part, those fucking guitar chords, even though it's like a classic arrangement,
Yeah.
like you've heard that so many times. God damn, there is no sadder sound than those chords put together like that during that.
Yeah, man. See, that's the kind of country music that I'm down with, man. Like it's
country sucks. It's the worst.
Like this is so classic, and like I talked about this a little bit on the Full Blown Meltdown episode a while ago as well. But like I have a little bit of a background with going to like bluegrass shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, hearing this type of stuff, just, like, it hits me to my core in a way that a lot of stuff doesn't, and I love that so much.
Yeah, like, it's like a major problem with country just in general. It's like, people forgot what it was, like, about. Like, it's supposed to be, like, you know, anti-establishment. Singer-songwriter, tell me a damn story that, like, I can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely gotten to the point where it's so superficial and shallow with like a majority of the songs. It's like, you know, I'm sitting outside in my fucking truck. Can you believe it? Like it's like that type of shit.
It's the like country Mad Libs meme, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it. But when I hear songs like this, and like he doesn't really do. I mean, he has a lot of country influence in like all of his other songs, but like that was like the first one that I heard, and I was just like immediately like, there it is. It's just, it encapsulates a lot of things too within country, you know, just like talking about he doesn't feel like a man, all that type of stuff. Like it's not like this super macho bullshit that you usually hear with, you know, like within country where it's like an actual real human being telling a real story.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I think is so fantastic about it. And he's a young kid. I think he's only like 23 or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I love the way, like, especially if, like, it being a country song, like, the fact that he says, I don't know shit about cars, like, which is, like, the opposite of every mainstream, like, country fucking song. Like, I don't know, like, I think that, like, I'm like, hell yeah, like, me too, brother.
Yeah, like, it's super relatable, especially as, you know, there's definitely things, even for me, that you don't feel like you lived up to, like, some sort of, like, your father's expectations in some sense.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the part that I love, is, like, it's just a real fucking story. It's catchy as shit. And the instrumentation, although is very traditional, is done extremely well.
Yeah, and it really is so relatable. Just all of those things about, like, you know, ways that you feel like you don't measure up to, like, you know, society's expectations of things, and like it's something that I think in a small way a lot of people can relate to, and I think that that's something like really good music, really good art in general kind of gets down to, you know, these sort of universal truths, and I feel like this really kind of like hits at the heart of that in a way that a lot of stuff doesn't. It's also interesting. This must have had a moment at some point, because I heard it and I was like, I know this from somewhere. I haven't listened to it probably since it came out, but I was like, I have definitely heard this before.
Of him playing the song.
Yeah.
It was like a very casual one, just like him on his bed, just like playing the song, and that's where I heard it. And then Jim brought it up like a month ago to me, and I was like, oh shit, that guy? Yeah, so he's
got such a soulful voice too.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it goes into the bridge, like there's that like there's that little bit of twang to it that, like, it's not the artificial twang. Kind of going back to what you were talking about like a lot of modern country music feeling kind of superficial. And, you know, there's just something about just the entire delivery of it that just feels kind of like heart-wrenching and emotional. I love it so much.
Like his performance is so good. And like the other line that I really, really like too is where he's talking about trying to sing shit out of key or like sing things he can't sing and just losing his voice. Like that's so fucking relatable, like for any musician, even if you're not a singer, but just like trying to do something that you like want to do and like trying it until it kills you. Kind of thing. Like I love that.
Yeah, man, I'm so into this. I don't have any more words, but I just want to express one more time how. Oh man. So we are down to, I believe, the last two songs, which you guys decided on together, right?
Yes, I've got them both.
All right.
They were unanimous.
Yeah, we all picked a list of songs and showed it to each other, and these are basically on everybody's list. So.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, perfect.
I'd like to add that when I originally asked this question, I got a lot of fucking attitude from somebody with the name Griffin about it. So
Jim
just throw that in there.
Jim doesn't know how to read. Let's put it that way. So here we
No,
go.
Jim was fucking with somebody because he's being a smart ass.
Reading's hard. I get it.
It happens.
Oh boy, Stone Cold Stunners are wild.
Gonna take it outside after this.
Yeah, oh boy, kick the sternum.
So if you're in our genre or know us, I mean, I'm sure you know this. I've heard of this band, but band from Oklahoma that's just coming out called Red Sun.
Oh shit!
Yes, they
So
just
good.
put out their EP. What was that, last week? As of this recording.
Yeah,
Last Friday?
it was last Friday.
So we're gonna do the single from that, Red Sunfo, which is a play on words of Red Sun and the band Sunfo. But yeah, let's just listen to it because it rips.
Said I'm overrated. I think I'm full of shit. And I got this feeling. It's in my skin. Let's go check my life. And roll this love. So when you come around, I'll see your shit. Said I'm overrated. I think I'm full of shit. And I got this feeling. It's in my skin. Let's go check my eyes. Let it roll this love. So when you come around, I'll see your shit. Why avoid that? I hate waking up to the same sun every morning. I hate waking up to the same sun every morning. I hate waking up. I hate waking up. I hate waking up. I hate waking up.
Damn it!
There it is.
Damn it!
It keeps cutting out right at the end, but man,
Kill the vibe, shit.
for real.
That one rips so hard.
Yeah, so we all love that song, that band. I mean, Quinn from Twitter.
Yep. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Awesome dude. They're like, what, early 20s? And
Yeah,
Something like
they're
that.
they're all
Yeah.
super young.
yeah, it
I
pisses
think
me off every day, but I'm so happy for them. No, they're amazing, and I didn't realize Quinn from Twitter was even in a band until he started talking about it, and I'm like, oh shit! And then he like started posting stuff, and I'm like, well, hold on, wait a minute, you weren't supposed to be this good.
Hold
And
up,
then-
let him cook.
Yeah, and as soon as the single dropped, I put it in the group text, and I was like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Because this rips.
Well, and I think that's kind of like shows the community aspect of it,
Yes.
especially kind of the tight knit Twitter scene specifically, but kind of like the greater emo scene as well. Is that so much of it is just built around like good relationships with people, and like those guys have built up so much goodwill with everybody that like everybody was willing to give them a shot when they put out their first single, and it just happened to be a ripper that everybody was
Right.
super into. But I think that's super interesting. This was the first single from that EP, right?
Yeah, apparently they had a song that came out, or a single that came out last year too. I wasn't as familiar with that one.
So
but this is the biggest one for sure.
They actually, I know a little bit of the lore there. They had one song that came out like a while ago that they took off because they just weren't very proud of like how it sounded.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
And then they did a split, a 3-way split, which
That's
was
what I'm
with
familiar
The
with.
Others
It was-
Like Us, Me Too Thanks, and then Them, which was Officer Jenny, which was their first song that came out.
Yeah, that's the one I'm familiar with.
Yeah, I always find it interesting. Something about just like the fuzzy, like kind of guitar riff on Officer Jenny. Whenever I hear it, I think it's Greta Van Fleet for like the first 5 seconds.
I don't blame you. That's what was so shocking about like hearing this, because like the recording quality is like totally different between the two.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting it to be like, oh, whoa, okay, that's this riff.
Super polished.
Yeah.
Love it.
For real, yeah.
And
It's also
I was gonna say, I know they're friends with Ben Quad, so I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's the same place that they did the Ben Quad EP, because it sounds very similar. But I would be surprised if it was recorded there.
it could be because they're all OKC bands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's very similar quality. So yeah.
I also did a thing like a week after this song released where I jokingly, because there's the line, I hate waking up to the same sun every morning.
Yeah.
And I decided to make that my alarm sound. And I literally wake up to this song every morning now.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Oh, perfect.
I was like, I'm just going to remind myself what the worst part of my day is right away.
Exactly. just wake up throwing fists and bows. Yeah, I love it.
It is funny though, because it's like such a high energy song that I hear it and I'm just like, all right, I'm ready to go. It's interesting.
I might try that. My wife will hate me, but I'll try that.
There you go.
I really love I love the way the drummer laid out all of his sections. I think like the tom parts that he added to like kind of give it a little bit more groove there in the beginning is so good, and I love the singer's voice. Instrumentally, just such a good band.
Who sings that one? Because I think they all do vocals on different songs, right?
I don't know. I know
I want to see him live. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I thought Quinn did primarily the vocals, and the other voice in it I thought was a guest from another band.
Well,
on that song specifically. I don't know for sure the rest of the record though.
So as far as I understand, I think Zeke, who's their other guitarist, is also the primary guitarist in Me Too Thanks. I think he's in both bands, and so I think that he's the other guy doing vocals on it. I also noticed, and it's kind of I feel like it's something that I notice and then just forget every time I listen to this song. But like the transition between, like, I feel like there's kind of like an A section and a B section to this song essentially.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's that sample that kind of like acts as a change. And there's like an interesting groove shift between those two sections that like my brain doesn't quite follow. And then I'm just like, I have to like get back on track when I listen to it, which is interesting. And I don't know if they're like doing a mathy thing that I'm just too dumb to follow, or like
one of you,
what it is.
Jim or Matt commented on it immediately when they heard it. I can't remember which one of you said that to me, but you're like, I love when it goes to that tom part.
Oh, yeah. That was me.
Because it was Matt. Yeah, because it shifts up so quickly like that.
I love that. Like, as soon as they switched, I was like, "Oh shit, we're shifting gears." I love it.
Yeah, literally sounds like shifting.
Yeah,
I like that. And our final song of the episode. What do we have?
Right.
We gotta end on a high note.
I mean, I think it's a high note.
All right. I mean, if you guys all agree, it can't be that bad.
No, we all agree. So we've been following this artist for a while. Columbus hometown hero Bill Murray.
Hell yeah!
We're all big Bill Murray fans. Me and Jim just saw him a week or so ago in Columbus, and let's just listen to it because it rips. We can talk about it after.
Every time.
He opened the show with that song, and it was perfect.
Yeah,
dude,
it was. So
I want to
fun.
see them live so bad.
Oh, he's so good. They play with tracks and everything else, and there's only 4 of them on stage. Like what, 2? Now he's just doing vocals only a lot of the time.
They have for the majority of the show. He's doing backing tracks and just singing over top of it.
But so
really?
guitar player, sax player, and a drummer. They're all incredible musicians, but it just sounds. Yeah. They do a great job. They've really got their shit together, and I've been a huge fan of Bill Murray for since like 20. Well, what was the album we got into?
Wet Milk.
What Milk, yeah. So What Milk is when I got into him. So a little late, but it's 2019. But I don't know, the singles he started putting out last year into this year, I'm like, hey, you've really leveled up. Like,
yeah,
it's on another level now.
I first discovered Bill Murray when the Goblin Hours album came out in 2022.
Yeah.
It was a buddy of mine who I forget, because he always, they do so many different like genre blending things.
Exactly.
And so
One of the best at it.
I forget what the goofy genre name that they were going with at the time was, but I remember reading it and just going, what the fuck? I have to listen to this. And it was not at all what I was expecting, but I'm like, this is so fucking rad.
He reinvents himself like every album cycle. Like, I mean, it's definitely a joke. I mean, he tries to do the cringiest like personality he can possibly do, but he does a good job of like keeping it funny and keeping it lighthearted. Like, I don't know, it's just he's one of the best at it for sure.
But he does a really good job of like his outside of the music personality is very jokey, very funny. Like, but he never incorporates that as much with music. Like, he does like stuff like that, like you hear at the end, and like some like ridiculous shit that you would that you're like,
or like the music videos and shit. Like,
but it never overshadows like the musicianship and like the songwriting. Because like I don't know, like this song in general, just the intermingling of so many different types of music within a song is so good. Like there's just twangy ass guitar riffs mixed with like essentially a pop ballad.
Well, his
mixed
producer
with also like heavy breakdowns, kind of too.
His producer is fucking wild. Like with that shit. What's his name? Will Carson. Fucking incredible. The layering they do on these songs is fucking insane.
Yeah,
he just announced he's playing in Japan, which is like,
shit. Nice.
So
amazing.
I think that there's something that I really respect about it, though, which is that everything feels like, while there's kind of like a joke and like a shitposty kind of like
very much
aura to it, it also feels extremely genuine in a way. You couldn't make you couldn't manufacture this type of music, because this is clearly like coming from a love of heavy music and coming from a love of pop and a love of country music, and putting that all together, as well as like the shitposty nature of like how he promotes everything. Like if you follow him on Instagram, it's just like
100%,
it's the craziest shit you've ever seen. But I think that there's like a genuineness. It feels like a real person who just like exists on the internet and loves music, and like I think that that's what draws a lot of people in initially, and then the great music, everybody's like, well, fuck, I'm gonna stick around for this shit.
I'll stick around for that. I mean, he's like that at shows too. He's very that same personality. He says a lot of wild shit on stage.
Like I mean, that's the thing that's first noticeable, is just you can tell how much fun and how much he loves what he's doing. And that was what probably one of the best parts of the show, is just how much fun. I mean, that was up there with one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
His fan base though is wildly diverse. Like there is, you would not like. It's so crazy how many different types. Because you go to enough shows, you see like you're like, oh well,
the archetypes of people.
Around. Exactly, 100%. And then you go to a Bill Murray show and you're like, there's fucking cowboys here. There's fucking like lawyers. Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it's fucking nuts.
And it being a hometown show, like I can't tell if it's like genuine fans or family and friends. Like I don't know, but it was nuts. But I mean, coming from like the Attack years to now, I mean, round of applause to
wild. It's wild.
Yeah, because he originally, for like people who aren't aware, he was the synth player in Attack, right?
No, he was the singer and guitar player.
Was he? Okay, that's right.
Caleb Shomo, who's the singer of Beartooth, he was the synth player in Attack, and then moved to singer later on. But
that's right, because they were both like super young when Attack was popular. I think they were both 17. Like 17 or something like that.
Yeah, they were in high school touring. Yeah, they were nuts. So to see both of their progression past that band is like, hey, good job.
It's also funny to me too that like Attack were all right. They had a couple of tunes, but it's like The two artists that spun off of that band are like two of my favorite acts in like heavy music right now.
100%, yeah.
Beartooth dropped, what was the name of that album last year?
Riptide?
Was it called Riptide though?
No, that was the Surface.
The Surface,
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. They dropped The Surface last year. That was really good. I think it was Devastation or Below. Below was the name of the one that came out before that. I really liked that record too. I thought both of those were great.
Yeah,
all the Bill Murray stuff that I've heard since it came out was super interesting.
Bill Murray, I definitely lean more towards than Beartooth, but I think Beartooth is still a solid act. Like their live shows are incredible, and what he's doing with that band is like wow. Like I can't believe it. So
yeah,
they're especially their drummer too. He's a fantastic drummer in Beartooth.
Yeah,
boy, Connor.
Yeah, Connor. Yeah.
This. Connor, if you're hearing this, Connor, if you're hearing this,
shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
I love you.
All right, so this has been a really good episode, guys. I'm so glad to have you on. I feel like we all have like musical tastes that gel really well. So this was super fun. Is there anything else that you guys specifically want to mention before we sign off for the episode?
Follow us on all the socials. It's Manor Gates Music, pretty much on everything. We're going to be playing places we haven't been before all this year, so follow us so you can find out more.
Shop smart, shop as smart.
Good advice.
This has been the Fresh Finds Podcast, the show about discovering new music with good people.
This is Stone Cold ET, and I want to order a couple of cheeseburgers.
They had it coming anyway.
Cody T. Like to come to White Castle, order a couple of cheeseburgers to fill me up before I whoop some ass. Give me a hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. And that's the bottom line.